Hi, I'm Milo Silvestro from FEAR Factory, and you're watching Metalshop TV. Okay, so first of all, before getting the gig with FEAR Factory, I was a professional musician. I've been a professional musician for more than 20 years. Most likely, first of all, because my parents are professional musicians, so it was like a passion that I got from them, and right away I knew since I was 12 that would have been my job. So and I started off with drums and percussions, and electronic music as well was huge. I still am a huge fan of electronic music. So I was both doing drums, playing as a session guy, and having my bands and producing electronic music, later on, I started playing a little bit of guitar to, write my own music, and singing. And singing came like the guitar a little bit later when I was 19. So fast forward to the Fear Factory edition, that was completely random because 3 years ago, like shortly before the lockdown, the COVID and all that shit kicked in, I put out a cover of a few pieces of Soul Machine songs, and it was just for fun, and I put it on YouTube. I put them on a Facebook page called New Breed of Fear Factory, which is the biggest Fear Factory fan page on Facebook, and much to my surprise, Dino was on that page, and he commented on it, and he liked it, and then fast forward to the next month, I think we were in a lockdown already in Italy and pretty much in all Europe, and did another cover of Resurrection and Timelessness, and he liked it again. He commented on it again, and next day he sent me a private message, and the rest is history. It just snowballed into what it's today, basically. And but it was shocking in a positive way, and was really, really surreal, and still it's surreal, but when Dino first sent me a private message, it was like, really shocking. It was like, I like your covers, I want to know a little bit more about you, can I send more covers to you, to record for me? And that was basically the start of the audition. And but it didn't tell me that he needed a singer. It was all really like a little bit of a mystery, because they were still going through a legal suit back then. And I guess even though Bert didn't left Fear Factory yet, Dino was kind of sensing that Bert had one foot out of the way already. So when in September 2020 Bert left, Dino told me, yeah, you're auditioning for Fear Factory. I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, that's the Fear Factory story, audition story in a nutshell. Well, what I would say is that I never considered myself an extremely technical singer, even though I have a huge luck having my mom being a singing coach, professional vocalist and vocal teacher. So she gave me some tips every now and then, but I don't consider myself like a hyper technical vocalist. I think when it comes to sing, Fear Factory is more about having the right feel, I guess, and having the right sound down, like the right vocal sound, either for harsh vocals or clean vocals, because Bert was all about sound, it was really unique. And that's the reason why a lot of fans were skeptical at first, because it was unique. Not the most technical singer on earth, but one of the most unique for sure, and really difficult to nail that that vocal style. And but thanks to my, I don't know, OCD or whatever you call it, you know, I was just so obsessed with his style that I guess, I don't want to make myself great, but you know, I just guess that I embedded that vocal sound to the point that Dino, you know, noticed that. Was like, you know, and he told me, you know, out of 300 guys all over the world that I auditioned, you know, you had the right sound. So it's not necessarily a matter of being the best vocalist out of all those 300 plus guys he auditioned, which a lot of them were really great. But I think it's more a matter of having the right style, you know? So I guess that's the reason why. Also, the thing that I'm so obsessed with the band to the point that I knew pretty much like almost all lyrics. Not all of them, but let's say 9 out of 10 probably, you know, just, and every song was throwing at me during the audition, you know, was playing instrumental in his phone, connected to the PA. What about this one? What about this one? And I knew all the lyrics because I was, you know, I always been so obsessed with Fear Factory to that point. And he was impressed. He was like, what the fuck, dude? You know more lyrics, Fear Factory lyrics than I do, you know? And I think also the thing that I knew, I'm a lot obsessed with checking out all things related to my favorite bands, like interviews, what's their favorite food, shampoo, you know, I'm that kind of guy, you know? So I knew all the history of Fear Factory, you know, what happened that day with that past member, blah, blah, blah. So Dino is like, you're not just the perfect guy as far as vocal style goes. You have the style down, and then you know all the lyrics, but you even know the band history. So you're almost it's almost like you have always been a distant member, you know? Like you already know the band, like it's like you've been in the band for all this time, even if you weren't. So I think that's pretty much it. Well, it was, I mean, the only challenging part, I would say, was to contain the enthusiasm, because, you know, I was like, oh my God, you know, I have to shout the whole world, I'm gonna fucking sing for Fear Factory, which is not just my favorite band, but it's fucking massive, important band for metal history. You know, it's a huge honor, and but yeah, I mean, of course I couldn't hold it with my parents, my very best friend, and band members. You know, so that small circle of people that are my very, you know, closest and dearest people, you know, family and friends and band members are of my bands that I have around. Those were the only people that knew that, and so, but for the rest, it was all, you know, just I had to keep my mouth shut. And my brother, of course, you know, knew it. He was with me during the audition. But yeah, it was not that challenging. It was more like a psychological thing. You know, I want to say that, but I can't. So, but you know, I think we did a good job. The thing is, people started to guess because of my covers on YouTube, because Dino gave me instrumentals, and eventually was like, okay, you can put on YouTube. And then people were liking them a lot. And some of them were like, you know, this guy's so good that, and thank you, by the way, but they thought that. And this guy, I think this guy is so good that, you know, he could be the next guy. And so a lot of people started guessing. And that's why, you know, a lot of, you know, they started the speculation about Milo Silvestro, you know, as a new singer of Fear Factory, blah, blah, blah. So there was this minority of CIA dedicated fans that were assuming, you know, that I would have been the new guy. There's a guy from Spain, I can't remember his name, but he was like, dude, you know, you made me win some bucks because I bet on you. So that was really funny. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, just kept my mouth shut and contain the enthusiasm until the time was right, you know. And when I was announced, it was really, you know, overwhelming and cool. So. It is. I mean, I remember vividly the first show that I ever had with Fear Factory, which was Portland, Oregon, the Deseti tour. We couldn't make it to the actual first show in Fillmore in San Francisco because of the snow. You know, it was crazy ride in the snow all over LA, which is crazy. So our first show turned out to be the second show of the tour, which was Portland, and at the Roseland, I think it was called. And it was nearly close to 3,000 people, I think. It was really massive. You know, it was a lot of people being my first Fear Factory show. And I remember at first it was fucking, you know, it was nervous and stuff, you know, a lot of, not just because of the large crowd, which I played in front of before, not as frequently, but still. But the thing was also like the expectations, you know, being the new guy, you know, what is the outcome gonna be? You know, is it gonna suck? Is it gonna, you know, just so? I was really nervous, but then I remember that as soon as I walked on stage, I just settled in, you know, and I noticed that what a lot of people told me about, you know, larger crowd being giving you less anxiety than smaller crowd was actually true, because it's like the show, it's set up already, you know, you don't have to work more to, you know, pump the crowd. It's just all set. You just have to do your job and that's it. And so yeah, the experience it was and it's still being awesome and really emotional, you know, because Fear Factory is not just you know, heavy metal band. Fear Factory has a huge emotional factor aspect to it, you know, especially songs like Resurrection. And it's really, I think, one of the most powerful moments is looking at people's face when their eyes are, you know, wet, or they're crying or stuff, you know, or they're singing with you and getting emotional during those moments, you know. So I think those are the highlights for sure. So. Absolutely. That's one of the first things that we discussed with Dino during the audition. And I was also happy to notice that, and to you know, to see that he told me right away that I would have been allowed to contribute to the songwriting, which is really, you know, I'm really honored because, you know, he's the mastermind of Fear Factory. So I would have been okay to just have the music written and just write lyrics to it, you know, just I'm the new guy, you know. But he checked out my stuff with my other bands that I produced, you know, play guitars, drums, I do everything, and he liked it. He liked the way I write music, which of course is inspired by Fear Factory as well. And all the orchestral synth arrangement. I do soundtracks, film scoring as well. So he liked the way I produce and I arrange music. And so we're still talking about, you know, certain things. But as far as actual music goes, we laid down a couple of riffs, stuff like that during spare time, but it's all scratch ideas. I know he has pretty much, I think, 8 songs, but it's just like structures, like MIDI drums and guitars, you know. He played me those songs, it's pretty cool, you know, but still have to figure it out all the synth line, the vocals, you know, it's just all scratch ideas by now. So we were meant to work on that this summer, but, you know, then we ended up receiving more and more tour offers, and Dina's not turning them down because he's like, okay, you know, we got to go back on the road, you know, and show the world that Fear Factory is back and prove ourselves again, because we have a new lineup, not just me, but there's Pete on drums, you know, which is doing an amazing job, and we have to prove people that Fear Factory it's back, it's 2.0, it's enhanced, you know, and but as soon as we'll have more spare time, hopefully next year, you know, I think we should definitely find some spare time next year somewhere between festivals and tours and blah blah. we'll probably finish those songs, record the missing parts, write lyrics. I didn't do anything as far as vocal goes. So write lyrics to it and finish, at least put out a single next year. Don't quote me on that, but that's something that I've heard. That's a possible idea. We'd like to put out at least a single next year, and hopefully the full record within 2 years. So because right now we're giving priority to tours and stuff like that. So, but yeah, sooner or later it's coming, and it will still sound like Fear Factory. We'll work hard to make it sound as Fear Factory as possible. With still, I guess, a little bit of fresh touch to it, but still, to enhance and not to change. So. Okay, so usually my answer to this question is 3. I have 3 of them, which are pretty much squeezed on the first pot. But if I want to really pick up one, it's going to be Obsolete, because of the overall sound, style, and I don't know, just the songwriting, riffs, everything, synth work. In the storyline, is almost like a soundtrack for a movie that was never made, and that intrigued me a lot. I was also a lot intrigued by how the lyrics were talking about a futuristic dystopian story, but also relating in a metaphoric way to a nowadays society. That thing always intrigued me a lot, and I think in Obsolete really stands out. And but shortly after Obsolete, I would say Digimortal and Genexus, because of the groove aspect. All of those 3 records have a big groove aspect to them. They have ripping moments, double bass and crazy fast things, but they're a lot groove oriented, and I've always been a groove guy, so they just hold a special place in my heart for that reason as well. And Digimortal in particular was the album that got me through into Fear Factory, because it was coming from music like Korn, Cold Chamber, all that down-tuned, groovy 90s, 2000 metal era, and it resonated with me because it was a little bit sounded like that, but it had more, and it got me to, I would say, heavier music because of the double bass element and amazing synth work and electronic soundscapes, and last but not least, Genexus, when it came out, was going through some heavy emotional moments in my life, and it just helped me got through it. So that's why it holds a special place in my heart, and I think it's a really emotional Fear Factory record, because of the heavy parts are amazing, or heavy, and a lot of groove moments, but the melodic parts, not just songs like Expiration Day, which I cry like a baby every time I listen to it, but even like melodic parts and choruses like Dielectric, Anodized, Battle for Utopia, all those vocal melodies strike some emotional chords inside me. So I think that's, and if you listen to the lyrics combined with the melody, it gives you, at least gives me a positive emotional vibe, like fighting, for in your life kind of thing, just I got that electric string, I can make it, I resist the pain, that kind of thing. And so yeah, I think Genexus is a really huge combo of emotional melodic element, groove, and heaviness, and yeah, probably I think one of the most complete works the band has ever done. So. This is my very first time being here. Well, Czech Republic, I don't know much, but my very best friend, he told me he was here last year, I think, and he told me nothing but all beautiful things about this city and country, and a lot of good memories. So that intrigued me a lot. So when I knew that we would have stopped by Prague and played here, I was happy because he had nothing but good things to say about the city, and also a lot of other people that've been here, friends and people that told me stories about Prague, beautiful city, and I could experience it myself, like a lot of beautiful art, and I like snow, so we don't get as often in Rome, so it's a beautiful atmosphere over here. So I don't know if I would be able to tell one single thing that comes in my mind when I think of Czech Republic. I would say probably snow, vodka, and live music, which is fun time. I mean, it's a good time. Yesterday we were hanging out at the pub with an amazing guy, with amazing voice, singing, just drinking, having good times, and people having good times. And it's a cool vibe here in the city. So I would definitely say, yeah, beautiful winter atmosphere, which I like, and good times. So. My very first concert as a musician. Okay, so when I was 11, my very first instrument that I picked up was bass, but it was just for a few times, I barely studied it. I was 11, and of course my first show was with my parents. In this time, in this circumstance, with my dad. My very first show. He's a blues guitar player, and we were playing some covers. I can't remember. It was like a Beatles cover, and it was really. I think it was the song "So This Is Christmas," dude. And it was like a pub in Rome, and I was just playing very simple root notes. And I was 11, and I can't remember if I was really nervous, probably, but I would say not as much as I would have been later. Ironically, when I was younger, I was less nervous being on stage, and as I grew older, I don't know, just going through something in life, I guess, but I became a little bit more anxious going on stage. But when I was younger, it was way more fine. And then I remember my first show as a percussionist. It was during a show of my mom's a singing teacher, and they do. I don't know the name in English, but they call him Saggio, which is the final show of the students. And she had me playing percussions in the band that would play for the students, for the final show of the year. And that was my very first show in a club in Rome, and it was fun. I remember just having fun, and that was it. The nervousness came later, ironically, for some reason. But yeah, first it was all fun. Well, I have a side passion for reptiles and animals in general. When you're asked, are you a dog person or a cat person? I'm a cat person, but I'm mostly a reptile person. So I had an iguana for 15 years, and sadly passed away 3 years ago. And now I have a skink and a leopard gecko. I've always been into I had several amphibians, reptiles. I've always been into the terroristic. I don't know if that's the right word, but always loved weird animals like that. Especially reptiles, cold-blooded animals. And I would say I would probably have, I don't know, reptile rescue, or I don't know if I would be like a veterinarian or maybe just like running a reptile rescue or something like that, or even like working in a zoo, like hanging out with animals like reptiles and so yeah, animals has always been like one of my biggest passion, and I would say I would probably do some kind of job that kept me in contact with animals, specifically reptiles. Some of the most bizarre. I mean, there are a couple, I think. The first that comes to my mind is a funny, bizarre thing. So I was singing, I think it was the last tour with Lacuna Coil we did in America just right before this European tour, and we were playing, I think in Dallas, Texas. And there was a girl just front row, and she was looking at me and singing, ah, she was really into it. And then she wrote something on her phone, and I spit a lot on stage. It's both like I guess maybe a thing out of nervousness. I don't know. It just gives me the I don't know. Just makes me feel that I can somehow breathe better. You know, I have a lot of more saliva production. You know, when I'm on stage. You know, so I don't know. Just my thing. You know, it's gross, whatever, but just tend to spit a lot. And this girl typed this phrase on her phone, and it showed me. It was like spit on my face, and I'm like, what? I mean, okay. I mean, I didn't spit on her face eventually, but we kept in contact ever since. And sometimes I'm like, okay, so you know, we can hang out sometimes. So I can spit on your face. It's just make this joke, and that's a really funny thing. But yeah, other bizarre moments. I think, I don't know. It just I don't know if it can be considered bizarre, but there was I think it's pretty normal when you're touring, but for me it was kind of shocking. We had to stop the show a couple of times. I stopped the show first, still Static X tour. First time was in Atlanta when a guy got knocked out by a kick during the pit, and that was pretty. I don't know. I don't know if I would say bizarre, but it was definitely shocking. And then but then he got up, and Dino was like, offer that man a beer, and another guy in LA had seizure. So that was really brutal. They had to stop the show and they had to take him away. Hopefully he got better. So yeah, a lot of crazy things for sure. Other than that, people throwing cups on stage. That I don't know if that could be considered bizarre, but yeah, you see it all. Of course, I think I have to tour a little bit more to see even more bizarre things going on. I'm sure if you ask Dino, he's going to tell you stories like it's sometimes when we hang out with him and Tony, they are the veterans of the band, and they tell us stories that you go like, dude, what the fuck? So I'm probably too young as a touring musician to tell bizarre stories, but yeah, there's a lot of things you see on the road for sure.